Charlotte was having the worst summer ever. Instead of spending her break in tropical St. Bart's, she was stuck in the tiny, good-for-nothing town of Brigantine, New Jersey. Her parents had shipped her off to her grandparents for the summer, while her best friend was off having the time of her life. Charlie daydreamed about relaxing in a pool with a coconut drink in her hand, her friend swimming next to her, as she stared out the window of her grandparents' beach house. "Why the long face?" asked her grandma, taking a seat on the sill next to her. "There's just nothing fun to do around here," complained Charlie, sulking. "I bet there's not even an arcade or a smoothie place here." "I know Brigantine is small," replied Grandma, "but that doesn't mean we're not fun. We've got local legends galore." "That's all just old history stuff." "Suit yourself. And for your information, Missy, we do have a smoothie place. Maybe I'll take you after lunch. How's that sound?" "Good, I guess," huffed Charlie. Her grandma smiled. "I know you miss your friend, and that you're not happy you're here. But let's make the most of it, okay? Now, why don't you look up in the attic for some board games to play while I make us some peanut butter sandwiches?" "All right," sighed Charlie, dragging herself up the stairs. Her grandparents' attic was the kind of attic you read about in books, full of old, mysterious stuff brimming with adventure. Everywhere she turned, Charlie found heaps of antiques, old toys from the 80s, forgotten about Christmas presents, and plain old junk. She climbed over piles of boxes littered across the floor and sorted through stacks of papers until she uncovered a massive old chest, ornately carved with a spiral moon and gentle ocean waves. An old piece of peeling Scotch tape covered the most detailed carving. It read "Games" in messy handwriting. "Finally!" Grunting, Charlie heaved open the heavy lid, fingers smearing the many years of grime, letting it drop to the floorboards. "All right, what have we got here? Categories? Nah. Pictionary? I suck at drawing. Aha! Clue!" She carefully extracted the box from the very bottom of the chest, wiping off a thick coating of dust. But when she removed the lid, the box was full of brittle, yellowed papers covered in elegant handwriting. The first parchment was dated July 16, 1702. Intrigued, Charlie sat back and began to read. "The island is ripe with fear. Townspeople cluster together, exchanging whispers and fearful glances at the mention of the fish folk, mysterious beings said to dwell in the depths of the surrounding waters. They're considered monsters, the stuff of nightmares, with scales that glimmer like poisonous silver in the moonlight, and mean yellow eyes that reflect the depths of the ocean. I often find myself peering into the waves, fearful they might attack my vessel. But, unknown to us townspeople, these misunderstood creatures were, in fact, gentle and kind-hearted. The fish folk had long lived in harmony beneath the waves, nurturing the sea life that swirled around them. They celebrated the moon's brightness, always watching it rise in its full glory from the depths of the sea. They believed that the moon held magic that brought love and warmth into their cold, watery world. Yet, with their nurturing spirits came a profound desire for acceptance, but they were shunned in fear. Meanwhile, a gang of Mooncusser pirates thrived in our unease. Under the cloak of night, they would gallop along the shore, placing their deceptive lanterns, flickering like the safety of a lighthouse, to lead unsuspecting ships off course. The Mooncussers' laughter echoed eerily as vessels ran aground on hidden reefs, their cargo ripe for the plundering. One stormy evening, a ship which I served on, the Sarah Ann, was lured by their lights. We ran aground, crashing against the rocks just off the coast. Our cries of distress were met only by the howling wind and waves, swallowed whole by the darkness. We lost a great many men that night. I escaped with only the clothes on my back, adrenaline pumping through my veins as I swam through the rough waters, the moon hidden behind the stormy clouds. As I swam, I felt eyes beneath the sea, and a current guiding me home. Those Mooncussers took every ounce of precious cargo they could from the wreck. As news spread through Brigantine, paranoia gripped the island. "Monsters of the sea!" they cried. "They bring the doom of the fishfolk!" In a desperate attempt to change their fate, the fishfolk gathered in a quiet, moonlit cove. Their leader, an elderly fishwoman named Tide Whisperer, called upon her kin. "Our hearts ache for acceptance, but our appearances baffle them," she urged. "We cannot sit and watch the Mooncussers exploit our fear any longer. We must find a way to show the people our true selves." "You're right," said Finn, a young fish boy with shimmering teal scales. "But how do we do that? They see us as monsters. They would never listen." Tide's eyes sparkled with wisdom. "The moon has always been our ally. Perhaps if we can ask it for help, it can shine brighter for all to see." Under the blanket of night, the fish folks swam into the depths of the ocean, where the water was calm and dark. They sang an ancient song to the moon, a melody full of longing and hope, echoing through the water. "Oh, dear moon, hear our plea. Shine bright upon the waves, that we may be seen as we truly are." As their voices drifted into the currents, something miraculous happened. The moon responded in kind, casting its silvery light upon the island, revealing the calm beauty of the fishfolk as they danced among the waves. The townspeople, once so fearful, looked upon the glowing waters in awe. "Look!" one sailor shouted, pointing toward the cove. "What light is that? It must be a sign." Curiosity pulled them closer. They approached the shore, drawn to the shimmering reflection of the moon and the enchanting forms of the fishfolk twirling in sync with the tides. With every flicker of light, their fear began to melt away, replaced by wonder. That night, the Mooncusser pirates engaged in their usual ruse, lighting the treacherous lanterns, eager for the scent of desperation on the sea. But as they paced the shores on their cursed stallions, they were taken aback by the brilliance of the moon shining down on Brigantine. "What kind of sorcery is this?" growled Captain Vasco, the ruthless leader of the Mooncussers. He squinted into the waves, where the shadows danced, and soon realized that their deviousness would be disrupted. The light illuminated the shoreline, revealing it for what it was, a point to lead sailors to safety. The fishfolk, seeing their chance, quickly rallied together once more. They leaped from the water, shimmering like diamonds, and reached out to the sailors drifting near the shore. "Come closer," they called, their voices singing the same melody that summoned the moon. As the townsfolk watched, their hearts raced with excitement and fear. Were they truly monsters? They whispered to one another. Determined to do something, I stepped forward. "I shall go to them," I declared, my spirit ignited by the kindness of the fishfolk. The townspeople gasped, but I felt an overwhelming pull towards the shimmering beings. As I waded into the water, I saw Tide Whisperer approach me. "Fear not, brave child," Tide beckoned me closer. "We come not to harm, but to help. The Mooncusser pirates are near. They seek to deceive once more." With a newfound understanding, I returned to the shore, my voice ringing out clear and strong. "The fishfolk are not our enemies. They wish to save us from the Mooncussers." The crowd murmured in disbelief, torn between years of fear and the glowing truth before them. Captain Vasco, realizing that his plans were unraveling, ordered his crew to prepare the horses for a quick escape. But the fishfolk, now united with the townspeople, had other plans. With the moon's light overpowering the pirates' now weak lanterns, the townspeople easily spotted them hidden among the dunes of the cove. I led a charge against the cursed Mooncussers, battling tooth and nail against Vasco and his crew. As the conflict raged on, I saw fishfolk and townspeople working hand in hand, united against a common enemy. One by one, the Mooncussers were caught in their treachery, ending their reign of fear. The night after Captain Vasco and his crew were captured, the townsfolk gathered on the shore to honor their newfound friends. They lit lanterns of their own, illuminating the night sky with a glow akin to the moon. The fishfolk danced joyfully in the shallows, now celebrated as heroes. From that day forward, the island of Brigantine thrived in harmony, forever woven together by the light of the moon, the kindness of the fishfolk, and the courage of the townspeople. It became a tale passed down through generations, a story of reconciliation and acceptance, a friendship forged between land and sea, where once there was only fear. Vasco's very own sword hangs in my cabin, a reminder of our pact. And every night, as the moon rises high, it casts its light down upon both the townsfolk and the fishfolk, reminding us that sometimes the most extraordinary friendship can emerge from the depths of misunderstanding. Signed, Captain Morgan Strong, Defender of Brigantine Island. Whoa, whispered Charlie, entranced by the story. She took a closer look at the chest, following the curves of the waves to the center of the lid. Slowly, she peeled back the crusty tape to reveal the engraving underneath. An ugly-looking creature with kind eyes, holding a moon in its hands. The moon rose temptingly out of the woodwork, piquing her interest. Gingerly, she pressed it inward. A satisfying click emanated from the chest, and a secret panel opened on the inside of the lid. She gasped as she took in the diamond-inlaid handle attached to a gleaming, wicked sword. Captain Vasco, she breathed, in awe. Charlie! Sandwiches are ready! Her trance broken, Charlie scrambled to shut the compartment, gently laying the brittle pages back in the clue box and grabbed categories on her way down. She paused at the doorway, glancing back at the buried chest. Old history stuff. Later that day, with smoothies in hand, Charlie and her grandma walked along the waves, scouting for shells and watching seagulls swoop through the air. Charlie watched the waves lazily roll along the shore, wondering if this was the very beach where Morgan and the townspeople fought off the Mooncussers. Grandma, she started, do you know anything about Mooncussers? Ah, so you found the old letters in the attic. I told you we have some legends around here, Grandma smiled. There's some truth in those. Really, fishfolk? You never know. Charlie smiled, turning to watch the sun sink over the waves. As the full moon rose, she thought she saw the shimmer of scales underneath the waves. She gasped, looking up at the pearl-bright moon. I guess this summer might be fun after all.